Hi, my name is David Shelton from Thorncroft Search and Selection. I have with me today somebody who I've worked with numerous times over the last decade. Most recently in this last year, whilst I have had my own company, and his name's Duncan Redpath. Duncan is a senior HR professional. He's worked in many industries, including manufacturing, which is obviously my speciality. And I also wanted to ask a few questions and have a chat with Duncan today. So I'll hand you over. Duncan, how long have you been a HR professional?
Afternoon, David. Around 30 years. So I'm getting a little bit embarrassed to say that now, but yeah, for around 30 years, and as you say, I've got experience across a number of different sectors and organizations. Some kind of household names that people will know or be aware of, places like Diageo and Volvo, Santander, and across a range of disciplines too. So I've had experience of recruitment in most of those sectors.
Yeah.
The last 10 years or so, I've predominantly been employed in manufacturing organizations, and more recently, I've set up as a self-employed HR consultant or interim HR manager.
Okay. So I must point out, I've only been involved with you 10 of those 30 years. That's so, but in terms of when we first started working together, obviously I worked for a different company, but I think it was Diageo,
Yes.
where I placed people with you there. And most recently, I placed someone with you in a large pharmaceutical company called Decra, which was where your last assignment was, which has I think gone quite well. So I think the first question I've got is, you worked with me when I was part of a larger organization, and now you've worked with me as an independent or boutique recruiter. And I specialize obviously in manufacturing, particularly food, FMCG, this type of industry. Did you have any reservations hooking up with me again in the capacity that I am now?
There's an easy answer to that question. It's absolutely not. I didn't have any reservations to begin with in our first contact either, because you were already working with an organization, working with the organization that I joined. But no, I didn't have any problem at all with that. I mean, talking generically, there's always a trepidation, I think, as an HR professional, that sometimes, until the relationships are established, you're not quite sure what to expect. And, will they just talk a good game and then ultimately fall a little bit short on delivery? And the kind of things that, will I be plagued with unsolicited calls or unsuitable CVs? Will I find my contact easy to get hold of when I need them, or impossible to get hold of? I've experienced both of those things.
Yeah.
And where will they add value to the recruitment process? So those are key considerations.
Okay. So I think it helped that we'd had a previous relationship and you already knew and knew what I was capable of delivering. And obviously that would help in terms of, understanding how I operated. And I think, those relationships, once you've nurtured and developed those relationships, I think then, you're in a much better place to understand how well the person can deliver on their promises. What benefits do you see you've had from working with me on this most recent assignment, which is a fairly senior position, wasn't it? It was a senior health and safety role, sort of global position. What benefits do you feel you've had from working with me this time around?
Yeah, and it was quite a specialist position too. And I think that one of the reasons I picked up the phone to you to begin with, David, was because I knew about your knowledge in terms of the knowledge of the manufacturing sector, that whole spectrum, so the individual roles within manufacturing across a range of different manufacturing organizations. You have your finger on the kind of current market conditions, so what the right rates to pay are for some of these more specialist roles, where the candidates are going to come from and how scarce they are, that kind of thing. So that was number one. It was around knowledge, and I knew you had the knowledge, particularly around that in-depth knowledge around manufacturing. I think then that my experience was your approach it's focused, it's direct, and it's informal but professional. I think that one of the things that you are skilled at is identifying very quickly and asking the right questions too, identifying exactly what the client is looking for, and sometimes even helping the client to articulate that and to narrow that down for themselves, because there are occasions, as you and I know, when clients are not absolutely clear what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So that was the second thing. I think then, my experience of you is that you've got great reach, so good networks and sector knowledge. You do your research. You've always been able to access candidates in our transactions who are not necessarily actively looking, which is the difficult part. And at the end of the day, you do what you say you'll do when you say you'll do it. You understand manufacturing. My experience is you've always delivered high quality shortlists of candidates who meet the spec within agreed timescales and with a minimum of fuss.
Good. Well, what can I say? I'm blushing. No, I appreciate that. No, I appreciate it because it's my manufacturing background. I was in manufacturing. I ran factories, and then I went on to recruitment. So I've been on the other side of the table, and ultimately, you want to pay for a service which takes away the burden and delivers what you say it delivers. Every time, and it's simple as that. And that's what I endeavour to do. So I think the next question was, what are the benefits have you had? But I think I've had enough. I think that's enough, Duncan. I don't think there's anything else that I can ask you, which is that summed up really well for me. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I guess question, would you recommend my search or recruitment company to others out there in the manufacturing arena?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, much of my job is about managing stakeholders, and you can help me to do that, helping to find solutions for stakeholder problems. And those vacancies in key positions that are a bit tricky can be a source of concern, reduced efficiency, etc. So yes, absolutely. If it was in manufacturing or engineering disciplines, I'd be straight on the phone to you, and with no hesitation recommending that.
Brilliant. I appreciate that. So that was Duncan Redpath, and he is a senior HR professional who I also would recommend highly because he's a great guy. And I've enjoyed working with him every time we work together because we're very communicative and we get on well. So thank you, Duncan.
It's a pleasure.
No problem. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, David.
Bye.